Thread 7. Confronting my husband while he's on vacation with his mistress. Comes a moment in every divorcee's journey that is confusing to face. Confusing not only because of how you feel, but why you feel that way. That is the problem I face now. Today I got a text message from my ex that read, "Hey, awkward text to send, but you finding out should come from me directly. I haven't told the boys or posted about it. Wanted to tell you first. Insert AP name and I got engaged." Again, awkward as hell to say to you, but wanted you to hear it from me. My brain almost exploded from the enormous number of thoughts popping into my head. I had zero idea how to process this news, let alone how I was feeling. It's so strange. I don't want this man, but this news ripped me apart. Not for love, but out of anger and frustration. Obviously I didn't express any of this. I simply told him, "Congrats, it's not awkward, we are moving on, I wish you well." That was external me. The internal me was itching to get to my laptop and jot down this post to digest my thoughts. But first, football practice. After bedtime I raced to open my laptop and took a deep breath as she came to life. So come with me down the rabbit hole as I process this and probably overthink everything. Warning, this may get dark. But hell, it should be fun. Let's do the text first. Why, oh why, is telling me awkward? If I got engaged I would not feel awkward at all to tell him. We are moving on, we don't need each other's approval. For some reason he was more nervous to tell me he was engaged than he was to confess to the cheating. My engagement announcement would be a quick "for your information" text. For your information, I got the boys sneakers. I'm engaged. There is a concert Friday and I'll send you pics. Now I knew from the jump that this was the end goal. You don't have an affair, leave your family, move across the country into someone's home, and be a bonus dad just to date this person. No, I'm a big girl, I knew it was coming eventually. I think him expressing that it was awkward to tell me threw me though. Why? Do you feel guilty? Are you ashamed? Did you develop a conscience and realize this might be hurtful to me? Yes, I know, it's probably not that last one, but I was hopeful. I can't seem to make heads or tails of it. Maybe I'm not meant to. Next, my frustration. For over a year this man cried that he was in the poorhouse. He fought me on any financial demand I made or obligation he had. And all this time he was refusing to pay for travel, drum lessons, sports, etc., but was putting money in the mattress for a diamond. And from what I know about her, she loves jewelry. This would not be a pebble, more like a blinding boulder. And here I am, begging for what our kids are entitled to as he saves for her finger. It's honestly disgusting. I feel like I did everything right in my life. I dedicated myself to my family, worked hard in my career, managed to go back to school for my 3rd degree, I drank water, slept 8 hours nightly, okay, that one's a lie, and attempted a semi-balanced diet. Is butter a carb? I did it all right, but here I am, raising 2 boys at my mother's house while I try to find us a home. I feel like even though I played by the rules in the Monopoly game of life, I was sent to jail and have to lose a turn while the game keeps going on. I bet he's going to buy Boardwalk too. The thing that irks me the most is he never worked for any of this. It's like every roll of the dice he just got lucky. He benefited from everyone else's sacrifices, and I'm the one living with the repercussions of every decision he has made with our boys in tow. I feel stuck and he's just gliding down the board rolling a 12 every time. My sister reassures me that yay, my life is kinda on pause now and it's not permanent, but my ex will always be a garbage person. That phase of his life is forever. Okay, pity party over. Let me hike up my big girl panties and move on. Last, but never least, the boys. He made a point of telling me that he has yet to tell the boys. You wanna know why he hasn't told the boys? He hasn't called them in 3 weeks. I've told the boys to call him, but he has not called them. I can already see how that convo goes. Hey guys. Haven't checked in on you in weeks, but let's talk about me. Oh brother, what a self-centered moron. I suggested that perhaps telling your children in person would, you know, be a better choice. He agreed. I also warned him that they probably wouldn't even flinch at the news. This being because 1, they are boys, 2, this doesn't change their day-to-day lives. He also agreed to that. So why the dog and pony show? Oh, that's right, it's not for them, but for you. He claimed he didn't want it to seem like he was keeping a secret from them, so he wanted to tell them as soon as possible. Oh boy, wait till they find out that big secret about why mom and dad got divorced. He told me it will be a long engagement and a very small wedding. Is that his way of telling me I'm not invited? I'm heartbroken. If you could see how hard I'm eye-rolling right now, I swear you'd be impressed. Hopefully he invites his children. That would be nice. My boyfriend thinks him telling me was pathetic, a sad attempt to gloat. Like, okay, I did some shitty stuff, but look how great it turned out. It was the right decision, see? I feel validated for being a monster. That his claims of feeling awkward were just an attempt to seem human. A marriage built on infidelity, secrecy and poor choices by two self-centered people. Sounds like a perfect match. Summer 8/11/23 it came and it went. Yes, summertime is a time that warms your skin, ice pops cool your tummy, everything smells like chlorine and mosquitoes feast on us mercilessly. In my 40 years, this might have been the best summer I've ever had. That is the reason for my delay in writing. I was busy living. Let's rewind the summer and I can play it all back for you. In June the communication began to get the boys across the country for a visit. I was excited and felt so guilty about it. Ask any parent how they would feel to be childless for 30 days and you'll get the same reaction. Instant excitement and relief followed by sadness and guilt. That was my constant state of being the month of June. The communication was surprisingly easy though. He was excited, the boys were fairly excited, and I was hesitant. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop or in a constant fear for the boys' well-being. It was a hell of a time with the ending of the school year, bidding on homes, applying for a new job, and preparing myself for the summer without the boys. July 1st came and we headed to the airport. My oldest is such a nervous Nelly and he had a look of fear on his face every time I glanced back into the rearview mirror. My youngest was sporting a floppy-eared Pikachu baseball hat and focused on his iPad. He couldn't be bothered by the upcoming transition. I envied him. I pulled up to departures and saw my ex outside. He shaved his head completely. He looked weird. I obviously am not attracted to him anymore and this new cut really sealed that for me. I kissed my kids, went over a few particulars with my ex and watched them walk through the sliding glass doors. They are gone. I'm swirling with emotions and none of them are right, and none of them are wrong. I put the car in drive and make the 90-minute drive to my boyfriend's place. I'm a whole ball of feels when I arrive and he knows this. He lovingly comforts me and feeds me. Man, this guy really knows the way to my heart. I get a text with a photo of them all tucked in their seats flashing a thumbs up and peace signs. They look happy so I am happy. I spend the month of July surrounded in calm love. It's beautiful. Is this what real, mature love looks like? If so, please sign me up. My boyfriend and I talk, plan for the future, have adventurous outings and nights tucked in bed watching movies. I want to live in these moments forever. I realize in this time how much I needed this break. I needed the time to remember who I am and what I need. As parents we prioritize everyone else. We give ourselves 1-2 hours every evening after the kids go to bed to decompress. But those hours are not enough. I'm realizing now how I burned that candle at both ends and I was about to be scorched. In mid-July we take a much-needed vacation to Mexico. Want to know what I did on that trip? Nothing. I did nothing and it was glorious. I sat by the pool every day and sipped frozen mango margaritas. My boyfriend and I bonded and relaxed together. It was all we needed. Upon our return we took a road trip and visited his brother. This was a bit nerve-wracking. I'd never met anyone in his family as they are spread all over the country and overseas. What if they don't like me? I reminded myself it will be fine and my boyfriend giggled at my anxiety. He was confident that by being myself I'd win them over. Well, guess what? It worked. His brother gave us the talk on our second day. What are your intentions for the future? It was almost silly. He directed this question to my boyfriend like he was my father looking out for my well-being. My boyfriend didn't hesitate. We are going to be together forever. Someone please scrape me off the floor because I have melted into a big heaping pile of bubbling love. Now, this is something we talked about together, but not something we have said to others. And for him to say this to his brother, the person he is the closest to, this means something. After we left, his brother sent him a message telling him not to mess this up because she is a keeper. Yes, please, let's keep each other. During July I tried to limit communication with the kids. Yes, I wanted to call them every day but I knew my ex would see that as me limiting his time. So I called every Friday and encouraged the kids to call me whenever they wanted. We talked and they told me about all the fun they were having. They bonded well with their kids and were enjoying themselves. I was very pleased. Then it all changed. 2 days before their return my ex sends me a long message about my youngest's behavior. Now let me tell you. My youngest is a strong-willed child. I've had issues with his behavior in the past and have worked to correct this behavior. I've been successful, but it can be a full-time job. I'm happy now my ex is experiencing firsthand what I've been complaining about to him since he moved. Welcome to my life. Apparently, my youngest got into a disagreement with her youngest. When his GF intervened, my youngest got pissed and called her fat. Now, this is obviously rude, but I'm still laughing about it as I write this. I'm just as annoyed as I am proud. Thanks little man, but no iPad for the rest of the week. Apparently his GF was upset and demanded to my ex that my youngest seek more counseling for his behavior. My ex sent me paragraph about how we need to do this now so that we avoid issues when he is a teenager. Okay, no problem. I started researching therapists in the area, called my insurance company, and put in all the legwork. My ex supported all of this. Then later that day I got back to him with what it would cost out of pocket. Once I sent him that number, it was radio silence. Shocker. He got back to me a few hours later and said he shouldn't have said anything to me, he was emotional and worried, etc. No, that's not it. She demanded it. I told you how much it would cost, and once she heard that, she dialed it back. Well, guess what? I'm taking him anyway and sending you the bill. If he fights me, I'll send him the screenshot of him demanding this was necessary for our son's well-being. Gotcha, asshole. Now, do I think he needs to return to counseling? Not really. But will it hurt? Nope. So we will go, cause it will only help him. I'm sure my son being there for an extended period of time and witnessing my ex be the dad he always wanted made him angry enough to misbehave. When I mentioned to my ex that his behavior changed after the separation, he got angry and said, "I knew you'd make this about us. It has nothing to do with us." Yay it does, so he will return to counseling. I'm so happy you suggested it. That experience soured all the positivity I had about their trip. Yes, the boys had a good time, but my ex is still prioritizing his GF and the new family's needs over his own children's. This is a pill that is always hard to swallow. Eventually I'll be numb to it, but when that happens my boys will be old enough to understand and it will become their pill. I hate that is the eventual reality. He hasn't even called them since their return on 7/29. He also said he was going to research therapists and get back to me, but has yet to do so. He won't. That's why I just made an appointment for September. You'll get the bill. You're welcome. Karma 8/18/23. Over the years since the separation I have waited patiently. I have kept my focus forward and waited for the pieces to fall into place. In these almost 3 years I have pushed and worked and was able to financially benefit from my divorce, complete another degree, meet an amazing man, swoon, nurture my kids, and yes, buy a house. While tragic and heartbreaking, I'm happy to say that I have come out the other side of the divorce changed, and better. So, let this be proof that if you stay focused on your children and stay true to yourself, that you will heal and be victorious in your fight. But that's not what this post is about today. Today is the day that everything comes full circle. Last night I returned from the store with arms full of painting supplies for my new home and a lighter wallet. I was excited and overwhelmed about the new home, and over a glass of wine I reflected on how I achieved all I had hoped for. I pat myself on the back between sips and settle myself in for a solo date with Netflix. Once relaxed, my phone pings. Thinking it's my boyfriend texting goodnight, I excitedly grab it only to realize it's my ex. He wants to know if the boys will be going to the beach this weekend. Strange. Does he maybe want to finally call them? I let him know that my parents are taking them so I can work on the house for the next few days. He then tells me he wants to return here for a few days but doesn't want to talk about why. What? My interest is piqued. Like through the roof. Okay, how do I play this? I want that D spilt like right now, but I can't seem too anxious. I let him know the boys' schedule for the next week and remind him that if he needs to talk, let me know. This display of concern is really me being nosy, so don't come at me for comforting him. Apparently, when they boys visited, he never had a sit-down talk with them that he and his GF were engaged. Now, the GF is pissed and wants time apart to think. Okay, let's empty this trash and dig through it. 1. My boys don't care. Even if he did make a show of telling them, they would just say okay and immediately ask for a snack as if nothing happened. 2. My boys have been through a lot with the divorce, moving, him leaving, etc. If it takes a little longer to tell them, then it takes a little longer. 3. Why is that a time apart scenario? Is this a relationship-breaking event? I don't think it is. I remind my ex that they are engaged and he made that decision to select her as his partner, but I hit him with some hard truths. I told him my opinion of her. I think she is a self-centered manipulator. She will always be about her and what she wants. And when she wants something, she will hit low to get it. My ex confides in me reluctantly that he is second-guessing this engagement. Wow. He apologizes and says he shouldn't even be talking to me after what he put me through. Yes, it's true. You put me through hell. But I walked through that fire and came out a better, happier person. He said that he has been miserable since the engagement because she has changed. She hits low, attacking him as a partner, father, and even about his appearance. I remind him these are not the words of a partner, but a bully. He doesn't disagree. I remind him of all the times that we agreed on something only for him to talk to her and fight me on it. Whose needs was he meeting then? The children's or hers? She has been about herself way before the engagement. He was just too deep in the affair fog to see it. I pause and assess my feelings about this situation. This is the karma I had long waited for. He now sees what I've seen in her and what she is capable of. All those decisions are now biting his ass. I've said it from the beginning, any woman that steals a married man and father and encourages the idea of that man moving 2,000 miles away from his children, can't be trusted. Now, he is no saint either. I have no sympathy for his choices. But, I don't think he realized how his choices would leave him dependent on her. He has no one or anything of his own. He's put her in a huge position of power. Now she is manipulating him to get what she wants. Threatening him that he has to leave because she knows he has nowhere to go. Taking away her kids who he has bonded with. He has a job out there that he can't completely leave, no real friends out there, and burnt bridges because of her here. It's all a power move. Apex warned me of this. She liked to throw her weight around and bully people to get her way. In his words, she's a monster. I wanna say I told you so, but he's so pathetic right now I don't rub it in, especially since everything in my life is going right. I'm going to continue being the bigger person. He tells me how he's sitting at his desk at work crying, seeing all the ways I've destroyed my own life as well as the kids. I have no real advice for him. I just tell him the boys' schedule and let him know I'm available to discuss his travel when he's ready. They aren't lying when they say karma is a bitch. Parachute 9/17/23. Along with other divorcees, have been through hell. And through that journey we have learned some hard lessons. These teachings have made us more prepared for life and better at making future decisions. Especially when it comes to selecting a partner. Let me tell you about my boyfriend. He is the calm that I need to be. He is always optimistic, he doesn't worry about things out of his control, and he lives for simple moments. He avoids confrontation by being direct in communication and his actions match his words. He knows how I think and he's always prepared to deal with my thinking because he already knows what's coming. He is loving and passionate and understands my needs. There is never judgment. There is never malicious arguing. There is only love and support. This, I think, is what healthy love looks like. This is what we all strive for, especially the second time around. My ex did not return here after our last chat. When I asked him about his travel plans a few days later he said they had a talk. No punches pulled, real talk, and they worked it out. I told him that if he was happy with it then great. His response? We'll see how it goes. Okay, now, this is strange to me. The second time is when you get it right, no? You matured, figured out what you needed from a partner, learned from your mistakes and picked a winner this time. Well, apparently not. I guess we are all entering relationships with dull optimism. He has promised to return for our youngest football game but has dodged me every time I ask, and even worse, when our son asks. Why make promises you have no intention of keeping? My friend speculates that his girlfriend reads our messages, screens our calls, and won't allow him to return since she knows we are on good terms. Perhaps this is true, but I'm sure he deletes our messages. That thought in itself is pathetic. I recently learned from a mutual friend that my ex struggles with some character flaws his new girlfriend has. Perhaps she is rude to waiters? Maybe she is gullible? She could possibly be too vain. No, the truth is far worse. I'm even ashamed to type it. She regularly uses inappropriate epithets when referring to some people. This blew my mind. Good people don't do this. I'm enraged and embarrassed to learn this. And I am fearful of my children being around someone who speaks this way. So I asked my youngest if he heard any bad words used when he visited this summer. He told me that she used the B word. Phew. This isn't great news but better than what he could have said. So I asked when she used it. He told me that when she and Daddy fought she would call him the B word. Hold up. So when they would argue she would refer to my ex as a bitch? Please. How has he hurt you, sis? He has done everything you've asked and you still talk down to him? My head is spinning. I remind him the B word is an unkind word and we are never to refer to anyone as such. He says, duh, I know. Pause but you should tell her. I'm crying kids, man. Since I'm getting uncensored honestly from my little one I asked how often she and Daddy would yell at each other. Like every night. Wow. Why would you subject yourself to this? Open your parachute and jump because the plane is aflame and spiraling. Perhaps it's hard to jump when you know there is nowhere safe to land. So here he is, with the woman whom he gave up everything for, only to now be manipulated, degraded, and unhappy with. Walking on eggshells waiting for the next put down. It's not a good life, but it's the life he chose and continues to choose. I will continue to choose living my healthy, uncomplicated, loving lifestyle with my children and true partner. So very last laugh of me, I know. Responsibilities and gaslighting. 10/16/23. I write to you this evening from the comfort of my new home. The boys are tucked in bed. There was resistance, but I was victorious. The TV over the fireplace glows bright, replaying a popular sitcom. The dishes are washed, lunches are made, football uniforms have been cleaned, homework is done, and all is right in the world. There is a special feeling being in a new home after divorce. I don't have half the things I need, but it's a work in progress. I'm grateful for the help from my family and friends in setting up my home. The independence is exciting, starting your life over on your terms, but also terrifying. What if I can't pay a bill? What if someone breaks in? What if there is a huge spider on my bedroom wall? I know I've always been I am woman, hear me roar, but I drawn the line at spiders. The woman I bought the house from was a divorcee with 2 children. There were many offers on the house, but when she heard my situation she knew it was meant for me. Her ex also moved far away, and her past struggle is currently my struggle. We met once and bonded over that. There were moments of comparing notes of our exes and also moments of tears. My story is not new. Women have been struggling with what I face every day. But she gave me hope. I named the house after her. I'm hoping Carol and I have many great years together. I've been listening to lots of podcasts lately about divorcees dealing with being a single parent and narcissists. I've been able to relate to so much of what I have heard and learned a ton. I know many of you in the past have encouraged me to grey rock my ex. While great in theory, it's difficult with children. I wish I could cut all ties, but it isn't that easy. I thought it wasn't possible, but my ex has proven that it is. The truth is, he isn't grey rocking me, he's grey rocking his children. We had a therapy appointment for my youngest 2 weeks ago. The therapist is a lovely woman who is annoyingly upbeat. I guess that's a good quality when you're a child therapist. She called me to inform me that after many calls and emails, my ex had agreed to join the therapy session on Zoom. The therapist was more excited than I was. Perhaps that's because I knew the outcome before the day even arrived. We arrived to our appointment that day and the therapist greeted me with a look of defeat. My ex sent an email and bailed on the appointment only minutes before it was to begin. I laughed. I literally giggled when she told me. She must think I'm insane. Yes, my ex demanded this therapy, and then when he has to put forth some effort he bails. None of this surprises me. But bless her heart, she assures me she is going to try again and get him to join. Okay, love. You keep trying. 2 weeks later I arrive for our next appointment and she tells me that she has sent multiple emails and made multiple calls and has yet to get a response. I haven't spoken to my ex in close to 3 weeks either. He hasn't called the boys in over a month. So I text him, "Hey! The therapist has been trying to get in contact with you. Please email her back." He responds a few minutes later telling me he emailed her that very morning. She is flustered when she learns this and apologizes. She closes the door and has therapy with my son. I browse old magazines, watch Instagram reels, and an hour later my youngest runs out the door into the waiting room all smiles. She pulls me aside and shows me she has no email from him. Nothing in the last 3 weeks. She tried to explain to me what gaslighting is, but I stop her. I know this. I lived with this. Now his children are living with this. And as a fun bonus, she is now 2. She tells me she doesn't know how effective therapy will be for my son. Only because the root of most of his aggression comes from his father and him leaving. And if he doesn't participate in the therapy, she isn't confident it will have the outcome we had hoped for. Yes, she can help my son to deal with the abandonment and empty promises, but she was under the impression my ex wanted to work with her to address these issues and holds himself accountable for his neglect. I didn't laugh out loud, but I wanted to. Of course he demanded therapy, so I could find a doctor, drive him, wait an hour, pay up front, and drive him home, but a 5-minute Zoom call was just too much. Last month he promised my youngest he would come to his football game. My oldest told him that he wouldn't come. He gets it, but my little one still holds out hope. He has 2 more games left and it looks like my eldest's prediction is coming true. Luckily my boyfriend has been going to his games and he has enjoyed having his support. I'm grateful for that. In retrospect, maybe I've been holding on to the ideas of my ex stepping up not because I want him to be a dad, but because my little one does. Last Saturday I witnessed my boyfriend sitting on the couch munching popcorn with my boys while they watched a movie, simply enjoying the moment together. It made me happy to see their bond. It made me sad my ex won't have that, but, in all honesty, if he isn't sad about it, why should I be? Another moment lost for him and another gain for our future family. Holidays 12/26/23. There is something really wonderful about the holidays. The tree twinkling in white lights, the crisp air that smells of imminent snow, the sound of wrapping paper being ripped apart and seeing the joy on my boys' faces. Last Christmas I was without them. This Christmas I spent making coffee before 6 a.m. as my boys bounced around the living room begging me to hurry so they could dive into presents. Due to a stomach bug infesting my brother's house, we spent Christmas evening home as a family. My boyfriend has officially moved in and we had such a great time having game and movie nights together. We invited my parents over and my boyfriend cooked a great meal. My mom had thirds of her meal. If you knew my mom you would know this is highest praise she could give. On Christmas Day my ex called my oldest. But not the youngest. Yes, the child that is in therapy due to his father abandoning him did not receive a call. The funny thing is, after their Thanksgiving together I thought there would be an effort. It was a brief thought, but a thought nonetheless. I was wrong. He hasn't called since the boys left him in November. And, you'd all be proud, I have barely talked to him either. Our only communication is about my youngest therapy and the money he owes me. I was told by the boys that their Thanksgiving trip was enjoyable. They went hiking, visited new places and spent time with her family. They played with her kids and extended family and fun was had by all. It is always strange seeing my ex during the child exchange. I give so much credit to parents who do this weekly. Perhaps it gets easier every week. I know that every time I see him I have a new emotion. This past visit it was pity. Not enough pity for me to actually have sympathy, but honestly, it just sucks to be him. He has always had a very upbeat fake demeanor. I saw it with coworkers or new people he would meet, but now I see it with me and my boys. Does he forget I know what he is really like? Does he have to constantly play this role? Is this his life now? I would hope not, but I'm not certain. If so, that's a terrible way to live. I had planned, as I stated at one point previously, to bring my boyfriend to the airport so they could meet. But, I made a game day decision and decided not to. I'm not sure why, to be honest. Perhaps it was because my ex doesn't care. Or maybe it's because my boyfriend might be uncomfortable and protective, he's not his biggest fan. Or maybe it's because I don't want my past and future colliding. I really couldn't tell you. It might be all of those things. I want them to meet but I'm not sure what the ramifications would be. I feel like a hypocrite because I demanded to meet her. I had the interest of my boys at heart when I wanted that and needed to know who they would be spending time with. But I was also a hurt woman who had to see the woman who broke up my family. I was right for that demand, but also wrong. I know that now. Sometimes I read my posts from the early days of the separation and I cringe. I could never imagine I'd be where I am now and I was holding on to a life that was so toxic out of sheer fear of the unknown. What a silly girl I was. So for everyone at the early stages of separation I promise this will all be worth it in the end. My ex did let me know that he plans to come out in February to see the boys for the weekend. But I'm wise to this game now. I simply say okay and let him take the wheel. I know he is going to drive right off a cliff with that statement and it will never be mentioned again. Just another attempt to seem like the dad he knows he should be. I'm sure his fiancée will plan a fun President's Day weekend activity and he will have to bail again. I have grown from all of this as well as all of your insight to realize that he will always be the for show and all talk dad. So I'm just going to keep doing what I have been doing and let him drift away. How long until he starts missing his scheduled holidays? A year? Maybe 2? Either way it's still a win for me. More time with my boys. Happy holidays to all and I wish everyone a healthy and happy 2024. New year, new me, same him 1/28/24. Just before the new year I visited my ex Mill. I have been so lucky to have this woman. She loves the boys and probably hates my ex more than I do. We took a drive to visit her and spent time with my ex Sil who flew in for the holidays. I had not seen her in a year and it was great to spend time with her again. We were close when I was married to her brother, but I also know she is very close to her brother so I've proceeded with caution in my relationship with her. The boys opened belated Christmas presents and baked cookies. They built a fort of pillows and settled in for a movie complete with all the best snacks and candy. Probably the best movie night ever. After the boys negotiated their sleeping arrangements they wanted to sleep in the fort. We came to a compromise and tucked them in. Now it was my turn to settle in and learn some of the gory details of my ex's current situation. I knew there were problems. He had told me, but the frequency and severity is new to me. The blowout I learned of was one of many. Apparently him and my Sil talk often, but he had told me they haven't talked in months. Weird lie, but okay. How is that relationship sustainable? How is there growth, support and love with malicious fighting, threats and name-calling? It's not a situation I'd want, but I guess he isn't me. If you remember, I told you they were doing significant renovations to her home. The bill is in excess of $160K. So let me tell you a story my Sil told me. My ex got tickets to a concert. Almost impossible to get tickets. He calls my Sil and tells her to pack. They are both flying out to this concert. Apparently it was someone they both enjoy, and I think it's nice he thought of her before his fiancée. My sil was excited. She researched flights and even pulled her suitcase out. The concert was in a state neither of them lived in, and my ex volunteered to cover the cost of the tickets as well as the hotel. Again, very nice. Imagine my sil's dismay when he calls a few days later to tell her he has to sell the tickets. She was upset and my ex was almost heartbroken. When she inquired why, he told her that him and his fiancée got into a fight about it. The fiancée said, "You shouldn't be spending money on tickets, our hotel and airfare. You need to put that money into the house renovation." Wait. I had a conversation with my ex when he was angry at his fiancée in which he said he is not contributing financially to the house because it's her house. His name isn't on the deed and he thinks the renovation is unnecessary. Well, same him. This is also the man that is paid late or doesn't pay for his son's therapy. This is the man who said he couldn't go half on a VR set for the boys. This is the man that can't afford to fly out for a long weekend to see them. Well, now I know why he is struggling financially. So, after I learned this, I made my New Year's resolution: no contact. That's it. No reaching out, no pics, no updates. He never asks for them and I won't be volunteering. He blocked me on all social media so he won't get any information there. I know this is something that I should have done a long time ago. I was wrong in delaying that. But it is a lot easier said than done. He has made no effort to call since Christmas. My oldest texts him memes and silly videos in which there is a very short response. So 2024 will be my year of silence. I'm going to channel my energy into the kids, my boyfriend, the new house, work, and my story into a book. Any authors out there have input to share? I'm happy to hear it. So cheers to 2024, the year of silence, and a new chapter, perhaps literally,